Welcome to Strange Brew Media Group presents The Interviews. I am your host, Jamal Jupitur. And tonight, I'd like to introduce a very gifted and unique artist to the show. Incredible tunes, awesome singer, songwriter, and very creative with garage band. Ahead of his generation and resonating with a very wide demographic. Show your love and gratitude for Jon Jon. How are you, man?
I'm doing really good. I'm excited to be here. I know we've known each other for a while, so this is pretty fun. I'm excited to do this. How you doing?
Yeah, long time coming, man,
Yeah.
Yeah, man, thanks for allowing me to do it.
For sure, absolutely.
All right, now, for my first question, who is Jon Jon?
So I'm a solo pop artist focusing mostly on like R&B and EDM style musics.
Okay.
That, as you mentioned a moment ago, makes all of my music on GarageBand iOS, actually on the phone that I'm talking to you on right now.
Oh, wow, that's amazing, man. That's incredible. I see phones have many uses. My whole Moonlight Media platform is done on my Galaxy. Well, actually, my wife's Galaxy. So
Very nice.
yeah. So these phones are putting cameras and workstations out of business, man.
It's the way of the future. I actually, I've sort of moved my process to where I'm trying to move even more mobile than I used to. So I can't do it right now because of like the pandemic not allowing like film licenses, but I'm wanting to move my music videos to being done on my phone as well.
Oh,
In the
wow.
future.
Yeah, that would be amazing. Yeah.
It'd be pretty hype. I'm excited to try it out when I get the chance, for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it, man. Definitely. Okay. So how did you become so skilled and gifted at working with GarageBand? I mean, how did that become a big part of your compositions?
So it was actually like a weird start. I guess I really just I didn't have access to the resources I was using anymore. I used to be like in metal bands back when I was younger, and we worked with some really high-end producers at certain points.
Mm-hmm.
And after all of that stopped and like I wasn't in those bands anymore, I wasn't financially able to keep working with those people, but I still wanted to make music. I still had like emotions I needed to get out being an angsty teenager. And I had my phone and I had GarageBand, so I started like beat mapping on that.
Okay.
When I was like a little kid, my older cousin actually taught me how to do beat mapping on FL Studio that he had. So I took what I learned from there, what I learned from like working with the producers, and then just stuff I found on the internet. And before I knew it, I was like making actual music.
Wow. Yeah. And the rest was history and doing it well. Yeah. Because those compositions that you come up with, they sound like they're done in a high-end studio,
Thank you. I really appreciate
really
that.
nice. Yeah. Dig the videos too. The visuals are also great.
Those I actually outsource. So my tutorial content I do make myself, but like the actual music videos, like for Dark World and Loser, I actually outsource to a director that I heard about through like the network that I met in my metal bands. So that's actually a guy that made those. He usually works on like metal and rock bands. So I'm really impressed with just his ability to go out of his comfort zone. His name's Matt Bender. For anyone who may be watching, interested in finding a music video director, he's super, super talented at what he does.
Wow, yeah, he is. Yeah, that is awesome. So what led you to even having the desire to start writing and producing music?
Girls.
Oh, yeah, that's a good thing. That's always the key to it. Yes. Yeah.
No, I mean, in all reality, that's kind of technically true. It's I didn't start writing songs. It was like when I was in middle school and I just had these emotions that I felt like I couldn't get out. Again, angsty teenager vibes.
Mm-hmm.
I would just write stuff. I really liked writing stories or writing like poems or writing whatever I could to just get the emotions down and out of my system.
Mm-hmm.
And one day, one of my best friends at the time just approached me and was like, hey man, these sound really cool. Why don't you start a band? And it had never occurred to me to like try to be a musician prior to that point. But I tried it. He and I tried it together and we started like putting a band together. And like you said before, the rest was history from there. I just kept making music after that.
Oh, cool. Wow. So, where does the inspiration come from when you get an idea to write a hit song?
Um, Usually listening to a hit song. Like a lot of the time, I'm a big fan of artists like Porter Robinson, and oh gosh, I'm blanking on names right now. John Bellion's a big one that I'm a huge fan of. Charlie Puth, people
Okay.
like that. Selena Gomez is a huge inspiration of mine.
Oh
Whenever
wow.
they come out with new songs, I listen to what they do, and I I immediately am just like, okay, I want to be able to do that. Like I'll hear a gimmick in their song and I'll be like, I want to do that. I want to see if I can do that on my phone.
Hmm.
And that'll create the instrumentation and lyrically, like I said, just like whatever stuff I don't feel like I can say out loud in my life, I have backlogs and backlogs and backlogs of these emotions that I just have in notes in my phone that I'll then apply to the songs later.
Hmm. Yeah, that's like a diary almost for music.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah,
That's
that's a good way to look at it, actually.
yeah,
It's like my music is essentially a diary of my life, more or
yeah,
less.
yeah. That's very creative. That's very deep. It's very real. You know. Um, has music always been a first love for you?
No.
Oh, wow.
Prior to my friend looking at my writings and telling me to be a musician, I was actually really focused on being a cartoonist. I've always been like really into anime,
Mhm,
really into just like character design, and I'm a big
mhm.
fan of like visual proportions and looking at those types of things and color grade. And I was just drawing from like
Oh, wow.
starting when I was 4. I think I picked up drawing and I kept doing that all the way up until like I still do it now. Actually, I have like a Fiverr put up and I'll draw like character arts for people and stuff. But
Okay.
definitely, ever since starting in music, that's been the thing that I'm most confident in and the thing that I try to push for the most.
Wow. So you kind of doing that like back and forth with the music as well. Do you like put as much emphasis in that as you do your music?
Off and on. Music is definitely the thing I'm most consistent with. I feel like there's never like a given day that I don't put some kind of effort into at least like my songwriting
Hmm.
or trying to keep up with like social media for my music or anything like that. Art, ever since I started music, has been a very off and on thing. And whenever I'm on, like I'm really on it.
Okay.
And, I push to try and learn new things and improve my craft. Uh, but music's been the only like creative venture that I've been consistent with for, I think I've been at it for like 10 years now or something.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice lengthy time to really get some stuff out and to really get known. Yeah.
Mhm.
Before having a solo career, though, were you ever with any other bands? And if so, how was those experiences? Because I know you said you were with metal bands, but were you with any other bands of any other genres other than metal?
Uh, so the metal band I was in was really the only like big group band. I'm actually in a metal band right now as well,
Oh,
but I can talk
wow.
about that in a second.
Okay.
Um, the metal bands really were the only bands that like took off. I
Hmm.
was in like a rock band before that and like a pop punk sort of thing, and neither of those really went anywhere. But once I got into specifically the genre metalcore, I found these 5 dudes that just really, really knew what they were doing, and we stuck together for like 3 years. The producer we worked with actually trained directly under David Bendeth, who is the guy responsible for Riot by Paramore, the first Breaking Benjamin albums, like big name producer. So
Wow.
that band went places. We played with a lot of really big bands. We made some really cool stuff. Um, but any other bands I've tried to do haven't really taken off.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, maybe it's in your blood to do the metal. But other than that, the solo stuff that you're doing though is, pretty great too. So,
Thank
bridging
you.
the gap between both is kind of hard to do, but you're doing it well. A
Thank
lot of
you.
artists can't really do that.
The pop stuff is really like before I was ever into metal or like scene core or anything like that. I started with Neo, was like
Hmm.
the first artist that I ever listened to where I was like, wow, okay,
Oh
that's
man.
music.
Yeah.
uh, so Neo has always been like a really huge inspiration of mine, and like starting from there, I think he um, and who else probably really him and I guess like Fall Out Boy were the first artists that I was like, these are the things making me want to make music artistically.
Wow, wow, because those are different, diverse extremes. I like that, you
They're
know.
very different from each other for
Very-
sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's really great. Explain some of the live shows and performances that you've done though throughout your career, your experiences. How were they?
So that's an interesting note. I actually haven't played as Jon Jon any live shows yet. I'm still, because my music is like very electronic, and living in Austin, Texas, I haven't really seen a live scene for electronic music
Hmm.
unless you're doing like straight up EDM,
Hmm.
and have like a whole bunch of hardware for that, which obviously working on a phone, I don't.
Yeah.
So I haven't played any shows yet. I'm trying to figure that one out though, and I would like to very soon if possible.
Hmm.
Uh, when I was in the metal band though, oh my gosh, we played a lot of really big shows.
I bet.
I
I
think,
can imagine.
have you ever heard of Chelsea Grin?
No, I haven't.
So they're like a metalcore. I think they're trying to move themselves into rock, but they are like definitely the biggest band we've ever worked with. Um, in that genre, at least, they're a very big name. They haven't like really broken out into other crowds. Um, they're just like a really heavy band, and they're known very well in their industry. And they were one of the most fun bands I've ever played with live. Them and like Moths to Flames, Wage War, Cane Hill were a lot of bands I played with. Um, those were some wild shows, yeah. Honestly, I think the ones I liked the most, though, were like the more intimate ones,
Hmm.
where it was like a smaller venue and a smaller crowd. Or if we went somewhere that was like really out in the middle of nowhere, those were always the crowds
Yeah,
that like
yeah,
really went wild and were super into it. And I always
yeah,
loved that stuff.
yeah. The intensity, man, definitely.
Yes,
Yeah, I can
absolutely.
imagine. Yes. Tell the world what you're currently working on now and when they can expect a full length album from you solo.
So a full length album is actually what I'm working on right now. I recently announced on my Instagram, and I think also on my Facebook, that my debut album, Crisis, I'm trying to release sometime this summer.
Okay.
Um, the music's on schedule to get there on time, but again, music videos not being able to like get the film licenses,
Yeah.
that's kind of been holding back the progress. I'm
Yeah.
gonna release the songs if they're ready, with or without the music videos. So they're still on track for release, but that's the big thing I'm working on right now, is trying to get like videography and promotional material and hopefully merch ready for that release, probably in late June is what I'm hoping for.
Okay. Yeah, that's gonna be cool. You hear that,
Yes,
world? Get
I'm
ready,
very excited for that.
buddy. Yeah, yeah, we can't wait. Yeah, that's gonna be great. Um, talk about some of the collabs that you would like to do with different artists, different artists.
So artist wise, there aren't a whole lot of artists that I've been looking at collaborating with. There are a select few. There's, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on names again. I like just had coffee recently, and sometimes when I drink coffee, I get like really
Yeah.
jittery and
Oh, I know.
scatterbrained.
I know. Know that feeling. I had to lay off of it. It can get intense sometimes.
Very unhealthy. It's a very unhealthy habit.
Yeah.
But Kate Devin is one artist that I would really like to work with, and I'm actually in the middle of, I don't want to say their name. There's an artist I'm in the middle of trying to do a collaboration with right now for the album that I want to get their voice on one of my songs. It'll
Okay.
be the first, if it all works out and it looks like it's going well so far, it'll be the first collaboration I'll have ever had on one of my songs before.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's very exciting. And if everything gets locked in, I'll probably make an announcement about that pretty soon. But so far, the only collaboration I've actually already done with Jon Jon was with this artist I met on Instagram. I believe his name is pronounced Deeksy. He is an incredibly talented R&B artist, and working with him was like just a joy. I featured my voice on his song called True.
Hmm.
Um, and the entire process, like, he really wasn't into it. Didn't seem like the whole business side of it or like finances. He didn't really seem to worry about like the social media front. He really just wants to make good music, and it seems like
Yeah.
his mind is always on that.
Yeah.
And that was really what drew me to, like, when he reached out to me, that was what made me want to work with him. Was he was just like, yo, I have this song, do you like it? And I was like, yes, I love it. Okay, do you want to be on it? That was all it was. And
Hmm.
I thought that was amazing. So
Yeah.
I definitely would like to work with him in the future. I've been going back and forth on it because I don't want to do too many features on this album, but I've really been considering putting him on my album as well. I think I really want to, actually.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Can't wait to hear the album. Yes. Do you have any ways that you plan on promoting? Are you doing like a release party or anything for it?
I don't really know what a release party entails. Is that just like a live video where I stream the album?
Yeah, pretty much. You stream it, you talk about it. Because I know people that do Zoom. I know the last one that I did, shout out to St. James, he did it. He had the Zoom and everybody tuned in, and then he played clips, snippets of the album and talked about it, and and
Okay.
the producers on it and stuff like that.
That sounds really cool. Yeah. I haven't seen a whole lot of stuff like that. So I'll have to look into it, but that sounds like something I would definitely like to do. I was wanting to figure out some kind of like premiere thing I could do to have my music featured on a couple of different platforms.
Yeah, Moonlight Media. Yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
always
will absolutely premiere that here if you want me to. I am
yes,
absolutely
yes,
down for that.
indeed. Yes,
Okay, for sure. We can make a watch party out of it.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, we should do that. We'll work the details out, and we etch it in stone.
For sure. Yeah, no, that sounds
Yes,
awesome.
definitely.
Okay, that's one plan down then. I'm
Yeah.
absolutely down for that. Really, I guess just the way I operate, I've never been like I just never get excited about like social media or like the marketing or the business side of it. I
Mhm.
really am just a content creator, and I always just want to be a content creator. And I understand
Mhm.
that I can't just be that, but I try as hard as I can
It's
to always just be
it is
doing that as much as
difficult.
possible.
It is when you're just doing
It's
it.
hard.
You have a small circle. It's very difficult to just focus on the craft like you really want to, because you have to do everything else, because everybody else, they got these big companies promoting for them, and we just doing it ourselves. So it is very difficult to.
Yep. Uh, so I haven't made too big of plans other than what we've just talked about regarding how I'm going to release the music. But I'll probably start really digging into like making announcements and talking about what I'm planning on doing for release in
Mhm.
the near future. I'm wanting to do some kind of like giveaway.
That would be
Back
cool.
back when I first started like making music on my phone, and I didn't like before I actually had Jon Jon as a published project, and I was
Mhm.
like, okay, how am I going to get this music out? How am I going to record it? How am I going to mix it? I actually bought a bunch of equipment. Like I have a professional studio microphone sitting in a drawer, and I also have what's called it's like an iRig Pro Duo is what it's called. It's
Mhm.
literally an interface that I can plug into my phone to adapt like microphones and instruments directly into my GarageBand. And I just never used them because ultimately when I figured out what I was actually wanting to do, there was no place for it in my process. So I'm thinking about doing a giveaway with those. And maybe some other artists
Mhm.
who like at this point, I want to make the point for other artists that they don't have to use those things. And
Mhm.
so I go out of my way not to.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean other artists have to not use those things. So maybe if like somebody who's into my music is also a content creator, I can give something to them and make their process a little bit easier. That's something I would like to do coming up on the Crisis release. I just have to figure out how exactly to go about it.
That would be awesome. Seriously, it would be. I could do some flyers for you, post a couple ads, do a couple commercials.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that sounds good. You should brainstorm and let me know. Well, of course after the interview, but just keep me posted on that, and whatever ideas I get, I can shoot them your way as well.
For sure. Yeah, I'll absolutely reach out to you about that.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love that idea. That's a hot idea. Um, Now, I know you've done other interviews. What's the craziest question that you've ever been asked by someone?
I have actually not done an interview before.
So
When
I'm,
I was
I'm the
in,
first interview for you.
yes, you were my first interview. Whenever
Wow.
I was in, I've done interview like things. I mean, I've talked to people and I've answered questions. But when I was in the band and we were like really pushing, it was our rhythm guitarist, and we were a 2 vocalist band. Our
Mm-hmm.
other vocalist tended to do most of the interviews. I actually had like a really, really restricting job back then, and I
Okay.
wasn't available most of the time we had interviews planned out. I imagine that probably wouldn't be the case if we stayed a band longer, but for the time that we were together, it just never ended up happening.
Oh, okay. Wow. Man, I never would have known that. I was thinking, I was like, I know Jon Jon has done a few interviews, you know. He's got
I'm
it.
glad I gave off that impression, but definitely not yet.
Yeah, well, it's a great impression, man. I mean, that's amazing. I'm like, whoa. Okay, but on to the next question. What is it about the music that makes you feel passionate towards it?
Definitely like the actual process of making the music. I'm very much like teachers growing up in school. They've always called me a Renaissance man
Mm-hmm.
because I was never paying attention in class. I was never actually trying to like pursue my education. I was always just drawing or like
Mm-hmm.
making music or writing something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like I always have to be in that mode in some way or another, whether like I'm in a video game like Minecraft or something and I'm building stuff, or again, like I'm writing,
Mm-hmm.
or trying to make music, or trying to like put together new projects like making music videos. Or I recently even got into like 3D modeling is something that I'm doing
Oh,
now.
oh wow.
uh, I'm always wanting to make something, and I think the reason music took me over so much is because of all of the prospects I had, even the ones that I had for a long time before music, like drawing.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Music felt the most natural. It was the one that I always felt the most confident in, whatever I was like creating.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt like I still today constantly feel like I'm learning whenever I'm going through the process of making a new song. And
Right.
I always feel
Right.
like I get the most amount of reward from a finished product. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely like it, if it wasn't for how much I enjoy actually making the music, I probably wouldn't still be doing it.
Oh wow. Yeah. Yeah, you do have to have a love for it. You have to enjoy what you do because it
Hmm.
definitely won't come out if it's forced. You know,
Yeah,
that's definitely for sure.
that
Uh,
is art at its core.
yeah, yeah, really. Now, you said the drawing was another interest, but do you have another love, I should say? But do you have any hobbies or interests outside of the art or the music?
Um, Outside of art and music, like I said, I play a lot of video games. That's definitely a big hobby of mine. I honestly, outside of like being a musician and looking like a rock star sometimes,
Mhm.
I am a nerd. I am a huge nerd, and that is all I do with my life. I play video games. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I do stuff like that. I go to the gym and I work out regularly, even if I don't really look like it. But
Well,
um,
you don't have to. All it takes is to be in shape because, I do the same thing. I work out like crazy, but I don't look like a bodybuilder. But, I probably
yeah,
can bench as much as some of them can, but it's just the strength. It's the power of the
functional
mind.
fitness
It's the
is the term
strength
I've been
training,
given.
staying in shape. Yeah,
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
Yep.
But stuff like that. I definitely grew up in the group of kids that like played Dungeons and Dragons all the time, and like just
Yeah.
very like nerdy fun is the kind of stuff I'm into, I guess. That's probably how I ended up being a sound engineer.
Yeah, but that's the ever quest for learning, being able to learn anything and being able to want to, just grab stuff and mess with it and just take it to another level.
100%, definitely.
Yes, yes, indeed. So, Jon Jon, tell the world where they can go to hear your music and how they can reach out to you.
So I can be heard pretty much anywhere, actually. I distribute my music through DistroKid.
Okay.
To anyone watching that isn't familiar with that, they're basically just a distribution company. They'll take whatever music you upload to them and they'll distribute it to literally everywhere. So I am on iHeartRadio, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, I'm on YouTube, I'm on SoundCloud. Literally anywhere that you can
Everywhere.
find music, I can probably be heard.
Yes, indeed. Check them out, everybody. Check them out, definitely. All right, man. Man, we already at the end of the interview. That's crazy. I mean, like I
Word.
said, it depends. Interviews can go forever. Sometimes they can be 10 minutes. it always depends on, how things go and how things flow, but this has been a
Yep,
great interview. This has definitely been a great one. Any last
it's been fun.
words? Yeah.
Yes, actually. So with all the music I do and GarageBand being such a under-discovered, I would say, platform for music creation,
Hmm.
uh, a realization I had like way early on in the beginning was that probably a lot of people had the exact same experience that I did, where they decided, hey, I want to be a musician, and quite instantly ran into the issue of, oh, I can't afford to be a musician.
Hmm.
Like, I have bills to pay, I have stuff I
Yeah.
have to do. I can't go out and buy a bunch of equipment. I can't go work with a high-end producer. I can't make music. So to that end, ever since I've started putting out my music as Jon Jon, I've also been putting out, and I know you know a lot about this personally, because I've told you about it before, my YouTube that I do my tutorials on.
Yes. Yes,
To
indeed.
anyone watching this, I just wanted to put it out there. If you are interested in trying to make music on your phone, even if it's not on GarageBand, there's also like Cubase I know about, and FL
Hmm.
Studio Mobile I've heard a lot of really good things about.
Hmm.
Um, my YouTube I have dedicated partially to my music and partially to tutorial videos on how I do exactly what I do on GarageBand iOS. I
Hmm.
work exclusively using my phone and a pair of Apple earbuds that they're actually not in this room at the moment, but a pair of Apple earbuds and my phone is what I use to record and mix and master and release my music. So if you're on a budget and you want to be able to make like really good sounding music and make the stuff that you want to listen to, I'd love to be a part of that process and help out. I also have my Instagram for people who have more specific questions. I'm always open to people reaching out to me on there, and even people giving me feedback on what they think of my work and how they think I can improve and stuff like that. I'm always open to any kind of growth like that. So just wanted to put my YouTube and Instagram out there for other aspiring artists.
Awesome. You hear that, everybody? Check him out. I mean, he's doing a lot and just doing it with his phone. You would not believe that. That is so genius. That's the beauty of creativity, and that's the beauty of people being able to do music now themselves, because they know what they want to sound like, they know what they want the engineering to sound like, and they're doing it all themselves. And just he's letting the world know that you all can do it. So
Yeah.
reach out, definitely reach out to him, man. This has been great. This concludes my interview with the amazing Jon Jon. Man, it's been a pleasure talking with you, man. I'm glad I got a chance to do this interview.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad we got to hang out and chat for a little bit.
Yes, indeed, man. You're doing some pretty amazing things, and we definitely gonna talk about that premiere and about what you're gonna do when your album come out. And
Yes, absolutely. As soon as I am like, so I'm still working through, I would say like I'm in the final phase of the actual
okay,
music creation.
uh-huh.
And then I'm going to really work on like promotional content and figuring out a release window. And I'm definitely going to reach out to you about that stuff.
Okay, definitely, because you're pretty good about staying in touch. We go back and forth, anyway. So definitely, man, I'll be looking forward to that, and looking forward to more great things from Jon Jon, you all. All right, we'll talk soon.
All right. Peace.
All right, peace out. Well, this concludes my interview with the brilliant and talented Jon Jon. Check us out next week as we interview more brilliant and talented artists and entertainers. Check us out and subscribe on the platforms that you see at the end of the show. I am Jamal Jupitur, and until next time.